Okay, I've just started the recording of both the cameras. Okay, just a brief introduction on what you're going to see. Well, first of all, I'll explain what a roulette computer is for the people that don't know what they are. They're essentially electronic devices that take measurements of the ball and rotor to predict where the ball is going to land. They can take many different forms, but ultimately it's just like a fancy calculator. What you'll see is the Uber version of my roulette computer using basic settings. This is on a Mark 7 John Huxley wheel. It's one of the most common designs in the world. It's got the Valstone ball track. That's the grainy surface. It's a lot tougher than the regular surface. We'll be using an ivorine ball. This is the ivorine ball. It's got a slightly yellowish appearance. The other version that I could use, but I don't want to use, so I'll explain why in a second, is a Teflon ball. A Teflon ball is, the colour's not great, but it's essentially white, and it bounces a hell of a lot less than the ivorine ball. Now, I don't want to use the Teflon ball because it's a bit too easy to beat. You'll notice, I'll just do a comparison of the bounces. You notice this bounces a lot less, so the scatter is less. I'll just do another spin so you see. Okay, now comparison with the ivorine ball, it's a lot bouncier, it's more of a ping kind of sound. Yeah, the Teflon ball. The Teflon ball is more of a thud. The ivorine is more of a ping sound. Just a note about the chat. All this recorded. The video is being recorded, but a lot of people reviewing the recordings later on won't be able to see what's actually being said. So a lot of the time, I'm going to repeat some of what people say in the chats. In this case, you're saying that the balls sound different, so yeah. Okay, so we'll just continue on. As I was saying before, everything's been recorded, so we can look at it later on. It'll be available by the Ustream footage, but a much higher quality version will be made available later on. The high quality version will be in high definition, if you like. Also, this is a public demonstration, so anyone can attend. In fact, a lot of people I know that are attending are not players. If you are a player, try not to disclose any private information or questions that relate directly to the actual computer. There'll be a separate meeting, a training video for us and the players later on. So reserve your questions pertaining to the computer use until then. At any time, I would like people to ask me to verify the footage is live. That's just I know people will make various comments saying that this is recorded video or whatever, just to make it, they've got their own reasons. So having said that, just a few people want to let me know a particular number to point to or something like that, just to verify this is live footage. Needs to be done. For the record, I think it's the 31st today. 17 and 15. Okay. 15, 17. Okay, we can do that at any time throughout the video. Not to excess, so we don't want to detract away from what we actually need to do. Okay. Okay, now hopefully you would have reviewed the visual ballistics footage as I was saying in my emails and my announcement. The reason for that is if you've never been introduced to roulette computers and what they do, and you're not familiar with visual ballistics and ruler computers, then the visual ballistic videos will help explain some of it. Having a bit of background information will make the learning curve a lot easier. Okay, you're not actually going to physically see the ruler computer. It is being recorded in the background so it can be released later on. But the reason we don't show the actual ruler computer, it's a covert device. We don't want casinos to know what they look like. But having said that, the casinos don't physically see the ruler computer. It doesn't need to be in view at all. In fact, it never is in view. Can use vibrations to relay predictions, so it can be no wireless transmittance at all. Almost nobody uses that particular feature. It's just easy to use the wireless earpieces. All right, the computer is capable can do a lot more than what you're actually going to see. Again, you're only going to look at the very basic accuracy, and I'll explain what we mean by that in a second. This is not an easy wheel to beat. It's roughly 8 or 9 out of 10 difficulty. It depends on the condition of the wheel at the time. I just recalibrated this wheel yesterday. Each time you recalibrate it, you don't know exactly what the scatter or what the dominant diamonds are going to be like. Even an adjustment of a slight tilt, even less than about a millimeter or so, can make a big difference to the scatter and how the ball actually falls. Probably the biggest threat in this particular environment, it's a closed room with carpet, is dust on the ball track. So the dust that lands on the ball track over time can actually change the ball deceleration rate. Okay, the actual prediction procedure. This is explaining how the predictions are actually made. Now, I've done some test spins just before, just to determine what the wheels like at this time. But ultimately, to get a prediction, we wait for the zero. This is just a basic example. We wait for the zero to pass a reference diamond. In this case, I'll be using this diamond over here. At the time the zero is at the reference diamond for the first time, we click a button. Okay, you'll be seeing, you won't be seeing the actual clicks. You might actually hear them though. Wait for the rotor to come around and do a full revolution. We click again. Then at the same reference point, we keep clicking a button as the ball is at the reference point. So just an example, we can start clocking with the rotor on the opposite side, but we won't worry about that. I just want to simplify it as much as possible. So the rotor comes around, it's one click, comes around again, waiting for the second click now, and then we just keep clicking each time the ball click, click, click. We keep doing that until we get a prediction. Okay, Toxin's just asked a question. Will you get into detail of the settings used here for those who know what exactly you're using, or will that be in another section? No, for the actual players, there'll be a different session. Okay, so if you're an actual player, actually, Toxin, I'm not actually sure who you are. You could be one of two people. I thought you were a non-player. Are you an actual player or not? As in one of my players? Oh, okay. Alright, sorry, I actually mistook you for someone else. Never mind, my mistake. Yeah, okay. No, if you're... since you're an actual player, reserve the questions... Okay, there's a few people that are actually players I can see. Yeah, if you're a player, reserve the questions about the computer until the actual training demonstration or the training meeting later on. We'll have that on another day, and that's where we'll actually, we'll actually get into the actual details of the computer. This is going to be very, probably for you guys that are players, it's going to be a bit of a boring demonstration because you've seen it all before anyway, but you'll probably still learn some stuff from it anyway. Okay, so this is more of a public demonstration for people that never seen a ruler computer before and are just looking for the just a basic demonstration of accuracy. Okay, I'll see what other notes we've got. Okay, so that's a prediction procedure. You guys would already know that, most of you anyway. Okay, now when I get a prediction on the ruler computer, there are going to be... Bear with me a sec. Yep, there are going to be two numbers that we hear. They're both going to be the same numbers. They're going to be the raw predictions. So we're not looking at the actual numbers that we're betting, and this is very critical to understand. You need to understand this point so you know what you're seeing in the demonstration. Say, for example, you hear the number 0 twice. What that is actually saying is in the last revolution, 0 will be there when the ball is there. So the ball, say again, 0 is a raw prediction. 0 will come around and 0 will be there, and then the ball will fall here, 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 or wherever. Most likely here, but that's the point in the last revolution. Now, I'm not very good at explaining things by voice. It's better in written word and videos later on, but just to recap so everyone understands, because it is very important to understand. Say, for example, 0 is being called, the ball will come around on the last revolution and be there, and then it will fall wherever it falls. Now, the predictions, when that is, does everyone understand that, or does anyone want any elaboration on that at all? I'll make it easy. Does anyone not understand that, or want me to repeat that? Okay, Raphael, you'll definitely understand it. Yep, no repeat, got it, no problems. Okay. Alright, it's a bit difficult because I've got no face to look at. I can't see any blank expressions or anything like that. Okay, I usually do the demos in person. It's a bit different. Okay, so let me look at my notes again. Okay, now from the raw prediction, wherever the ball lands is wherever it lands. I won't go into details about the physics behind it, but essentially, from the tests I did earlier, the ball is mostly landing around about 2 or so pockets from the raw prediction this way, so clockwise, including the raw prediction, and a few pockets this way, mostly this side of the raw prediction. So mostly, if the raw prediction is 0, it's about that side, but occasionally it will be directly opposite. Okay, so again, if 0 is the raw prediction, it will sometimes land opposite as well, but again, mostly this side. I hate to sound repetitive, but it has to be understood. Okay, now we'll actually get into the meat of the demonstration. Now, normally in the demonstrations I do, you got a commercial. Stupid commercials. Okay, did anyone else get hit with a commercial at all? I didn't know that was going to happen. Okay, either way, did you actually miss parts, did you? Okay, well, next time I do this, I'll actually have to do the subscription. Alright, so what I was saying is, if we get a raw prediction of 0, most of the time, I'll just make sure you can see it. If the raw prediction is 0, most of the time the ball will either land near the raw prediction, just right of it, 1 or 2 pockets, including the raw prediction, but mostly this side, so anti-clockwise side. And then the other option is it will land directly opposite. Least of all, it will land on this side. That's very important to understand. What I'm actually going to show now is the other camera, what the actual charts are in the computer. I'm not going to show them to the actual the Ustream webcam, because that's because you could say private information reserved for the players only. So the players only will see this, but in a demonstration later on. Scrolling from left to right, this is on the com chart. You can see the little green highlighted areas. So the raw prediction plus 2 numbers, that's the opposite area, and this is the far side. So you can see it's heavily dominant on the right side. Okay, have to excuse me for a second. Okay, so now we'll get into it. The predictions were made around about 15 seconds before the ball falls. So there's a question here. Oh, I can count. You're asking how many pockets approximately. I'll count them for you. "14 pockets in total." Now that's just an ideal situation. On this particular wheel, you could get away with getting just probably just 5 numbers. Now it's actually very easy to bet that. It depends on the table, but a simple one of the neighbours' bets will cover all those numbers that you need. Now in the actual private part of it, we'll do it another day though. But it's like the training for the video, training for the actual players. I'll explain how you can easily cover that 15 numbers in a couple of seconds, but that's more private information. I'll give that later on. Okay. I'm just going to read this here. SB Roulette, he was pointing at the... Oh, you're talking to someone else. Okay. Okay, let me just explain the rule prediction part again because some people missed it. Now, if we get... sorry for the people that heard this before, but if we get a prediction of 0, we're going to hear that twice from the computer. I'll also repeat it with my voice. It's saying that 0 will be here when the ball is here at the last revolution. So from that point, when 0 is there, the raw prediction, the ball will fall here, 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 or wherever, as long as it doesn't come back around for a second revolution. That's the raw prediction. Now, from that raw prediction, the ball is mostly landing these 2 pockets, the actual raw prediction, and about that many pockets anti-clockwise. So if what we're essentially looking for is this area here from the raw prediction, if 0 is the raw prediction, and directly opposite 0, which is the opposite of the raw prediction. Is that better? Okay, George, it looks like you're the only one that actually doesn't have sound, so you might want to quickly log out and log back in. Okay, there's about 40 viewers at the moment, just from my tracking. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, of course, accuracy is never going to be absolutely perfect. Oh yeah, if one person doesn't have sound, then it's not a problem on my end. It's most likely they'll have to log in and out. Okay, so we'll just have to keep moving. So it's called risk. When risk is announced, it means something's wrong. It could be bad clicks, it could be maybe something to do with the ball deceleration. Most likely it is anyway. With the message I got on the screen, that's what it was. And it usually happens once in 30, 35 spins, something like that. It just depends on your predictions, your clicks. Actually sounds like there's a bit of dust on the ball track already. 29. Okay, so it's watching 29, and there's about 15 seconds before the ball falls after the prediction. Watching 29, it's just anti-clockwise of 0. We want 29 to be at this diamond when the ball is there for the last time. Coming around and there. Okay, now just to recap, that was pretty much on target, down to a pocket or so. But in this case, the ball has landed just clockwise of it. So we enter the winning number.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 32. Confirm. Play.
Okay, so again. And you can count the seconds after the prediction. It's roughly 15 or so seconds. So 7 is just anti-clockwise of 0 again. Number 7. Watch for 7. Probably going to go around for another pass. 7. There. Okay. And it's landed just anti-clockwise of 7.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 18. Confirm. Play.
Okay, again, as I was saying, this is all being recorded in high definition, so the actual players can look at it later on, and they'll be able to apply it with the exact settings that I'm using, so I can tell you the actual settings that I'm using, and you can replicate it for yourself.
Risk.
Okay, risk. In that case, it was borderline. I won't get into that detail.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 0. Confirm.
I went into a number.
Rejected.
So what essentially happened then
Play.
is the computer detected it was borderline one revolution or the other. The actual players will probably understand what I'm saying about that. Also, if anyone, I'll just quickly read. Okay, no. Is everyone seeing this all right? The footage is still okay? Okay, good. All right, continuing on.
Up.
Okay, 10's opposite 0. Touching 10 here. There's something I'll also explain about why we're looking at raw predictions rather than the actual. We're still looking at the actual prediction themselves, and it might be one off. Yeah, okay, a little bit off.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 33. Confirm. Play.
Okay, with some of the settings of the roulette computer, it's necessary to know exactly where the ball is going to be at a certain time. With some of the other settings, you don't need to know. It works on a different principle. Now, there are some people, I'm sure 80% of you will probably be aware of, that falsely claim my mobile phone roulette computer versions give random predictions, blah, blah, blah. And when I do the demonstrations, I mostly focus on the actual tune predictions. But in this video, a lot of people wouldn't have any idea about roulette computers, and by looking at the raw prediction and what I'm actually showing you, it's clearer to see that the predictions are clearly not random. So that's why I'm doing it this way.
Up.
Thirty-three. Down here. Okay, that's about 4 or so pockets off then. It's landed opposite the raw prediction at 4.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 4. Confirm. Play. Ten.
10. Coming around. Okay. Right on 10.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 10. Confirm. Play. Up.
Yeah, I'm going to randomize the release point so the rotors at different points. Make a deliberate randomization.
16. 16.
16. Yeah. And it's going to come around one more time, probably 16. Okay.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 12. Confirm. Play.
Okay. If you're getting commercials, we'll have to fix that later on, but it's a bit too late now. Well, you can just review the footage later on, which won't have any commercials. Okay, 4. So yeah, just clockwise of 0. Might be spinning the rotor a little bit slowly. Okay, it's landed opposite.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 31.
Okay, now for the accuracy, for those interested, that was negative 15 from the raw prediction. I lost what I was going to say.
Up. Risk. Play.
The risk was called.
Up.
So the raw prediction accuracy, it's accurate roughly 80% of the time. When I say accurate, it's accurate within about 3 or so pockets, about 80% of the time. And probably a little bit short. Okay, that wasn't too bad.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 7. Confirm.
Obviously, if I'm predicting towards the end of the spin, it's going to be a lot more accurate, but then some people might say it's a little bit too easy to beat.
Up.
Last I checked, it was about 14-15 seconds after the prediction of the ball falls.
1.
1. Okay, 1 was the raw prediction. It wasn't too bad, and it's landed on 4, directly opposite.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 4. Confirm. Play. Twelve.
12, just left of 0. When I say left, I mean anti-clockwise. 12.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 33.
I'm just going to speed up the rotor a little bit, but it means I have to change some of the settings. Just bear with me a second.
Play.
Okay.
Up.
Thirty-four, just right of 0, 90 degrees, 34. Probably come around for it again. And okay, that was about roughly four pockets off.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 31.
And it's landed directly opposite 34 and 31.
Up. Risk. Play.
Okay, risk. So there's no need to watch it spin.
Up. $35.
35, left of 0. I'll get to your question in a second. Okay, so 35 and it's landed near opposite.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 6.
Okay, questions.
Play.
Okay, I'll get to the questions in a second. Hang on, guys. Well, slow down. Toxin, don't worry about the buffering time. Yeah, like I said, you can review the footage later on anyway. How many pockets we're predicting? It's roughly 15 or so in total. But as I was explaining at the start, we're ultimately focusing on the raw prediction. That's what we want to look at most at this stage. Jupiter, you're asking what you do if the direction has changed every spin. It's quite easy. You can define the direction. Well, there's a few ways to do it, but if you know the predictions, the direction of the rotor, the spinning part, if you know that before the spin's going to begin, you just actually select it. Like for example, we'll get into that later on. It's easily dealt with. It's not a problem. We don't need to cover that at the moment. Let me just have a look. And I'm trying to keep up with these questions. Just hang on a sec, guys. Okay, the other question is how many pockets to look at in complete opposite prediction? It's about, I'll tell you in a second. About 5. At the end of the video, I'm going to show the other camera, the actual chart that we've got, and it doesn't get any clearer than that, but it's only going to be released to actual players so they can see it and replicate it. I might release it later on, it depends. I mean publicly. Okay, 7, about 90 degrees left from 0, roughly. 7. Maybe one more revolution coming around, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 pockets off. But it's close to 7.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 12. Confirm. Play.
Okay, risk. We're getting called risk a little bit more frequently than what we'd normally get. Usually means that the ball deceleration rate's changing. The computer has 2 different methods to deal with it. One of them's automatic and the other one's something else. Okay, yep. After that particular spin, you would have heard the computer beep. After the actual risk was called. I'll start again. After risk was called, you would have heard the computer beep. That means it's making an adjustment for the ball deceleration rate changes.
Up.
Okay, 27. Over here. Probably again. No.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 10. Confirm. Play. Up. Twenty.
20. I'll get to more questions in a second.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 22. Confirm. Play.
Okay, John, you're asking with you approximately how many raw predictions do you need before you start betting? It depends. It can range anywhere between, on the easiest wheel, it could be as little as 5 spins, but the typical wheel is between 30 to 60 spins per direction. Now with the Uber, things are a little bit different because it's the only computer that can resume play on different days, even with the ball deceleration rate having changed. So if you're resuming play on a different day, you can resume play from as little as 2 or 3 spins. Let's read more of the questions. Does this wheel have a dominant? Yes, it does. Almost every wheel has a dominant diamond. This one I think is dominant. This might be a secondary one over here. I haven't actually looked at it greatly, but I know that this one's probably the dominant one. Yes, you're saying that the rotor decelerates too much. Yes, it does. That actually makes it a little bit more difficult to beat because at different speeds the rotor will. What am I trying to say? If the rotor decelerates quickly, it's more difficult to replicate with the algorithms. Yes, players can earn that much. What do you mean by upgrade the stakes and make me? No. Oh, okay. If you mean the actual bet size, it's not. What you win is not so much limited by what you can physically or literally win. It's more limited by what you can get away with. In other words, if you go in and win $100,000 in a day, the casino's of course going to know it. Yeah. Yes. I know the rotor does lose a lot of speed. Like I said, it's not a consistent.
Up. 5.
5. The rotor just needs a little bit of oil. Yes, I'm allowed in casinos. Doesn't mean I'm not known, but. Okay.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 31. Confirm. Play.
With being banned from casinos, there's a lot of players that think that if you win some money, you're going to be banned. It simply doesn't work that way. A casino is going to change conditions on you before they ban you. A ban very, very rarely occurs, and it's usually for something like a blackjack player where back in the olden days when they couldn't so easily apply countermeasures. So say for example, if you're winning on a wheel, you're doing really well, the player is not going to be kicked out. The casino is not going to ask you to leave. They want you to lose your money, so they'll change conditions until you, like with the roulette computers, the perfect example is they might call no more bets much earlier in the spin, and that will just simply kill any roulette computer if it's way too early. Now this is basically as early as you can get with this particular wheel. The predictions are as early as you can get. There are some wheels where you can get a prediction, an accurate prediction, as little as 1 revolution of the ball. That's a very, very rare wheel though, and you notice that on a wheel like that that's so easily beaten, that the ball will hit the same dominant diamond again and again, or the ball will fall with basically no scatter, no bounce, and that's a very, very easy wheel to beat. You don't need to have a computer for something like that. But getting back to the original point, when a player wins hundreds of thousands of dollars, you'll find that what the casino does, they don't ban them. They'll give you a room, they'll give you all these little perks, and they'll keep you in the casino longer. They want you to continue playing. Now, in a case where they suspect you of actual professional play, they might do the same thing. But more likely, what they'll first do is change the conditions on you until you start to leave. Now, if they've done until you either lose or leave. So it's very critical to remain undetected. That's what the roulette computers is all about. And when you're asking about how much players actually earn, it can, yes, of course, you can earn $100,000 in a day, but that's just not realistic. You're going to be detected. A more realistic number is anywhere between $500 to a couple of thousand per visit before you move on to a different casino.
Up. Ten.
10.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 20. Confirm. Play.
I'll get to your questions in a second.
Risk. Play.
That risk again, things are still changing. Okay, question about does the roulette computer work online? Yes, it does. There was one particular online casino that we took a little bit too much from, and now they've called no more bets much earlier. I won't actually name the casino. It's actually 2 different casinos, though. There's still a couple of other casinos that it can be applied online. Although you have to understand with the online casinos that they're subject to the quality of the footage. If the footage is very poor and you have a very poor connection, then you're not going to get any. You're not going to get an accurate enough timings and bad predictions. But the real danger with the online casinos, it's not so much a danger, it's more of a limitation, is they can watch when you're placing the bets, your style of play, and they can very easily monitor everything. So the real limit with online is more about changing your account and repeating the process. And that it's a real pain in the butt process. Let's look at the other questions. No, you can't make as much money online, definitely not. The players that have been most successful online tend to play with for a short amount of time with higher stakes. They wait for the computer to be wait for the wheel to be at optimal conditions. They'll take advantage of it and win a large amount before dumping the account. The roulette computer, they vary in prices. Look, if you're a genuinewinner.com player, you get a free roulette computer, but that's a very basic computer. It's essentially it's the equivalent of a few other computers on the market, except it's free, and the other ones cost a couple of $1,000s. And I do that because, well, for a few reasons. Basically, it's a prelude to the other computers anyway. So that one's free, the basic computer. Then you've got the light ruler computer, which is just about to be discontinued for the reasons explained on my site. Depending, you can buy them second hand. Some players unable to use them for whatever reasons. They range anywhere between $1,000 to a $5,000 version, which is 2-player version. But the Uber version, which does a hell of a lot more than the other ruler computers, that's between $15,000 to $30,000. Then you've got the hybrid, which is just like the Uber version. It's got all the bells and whistles that can deal with just about any condition possible. Except with the hybrid, it uses automated image recognition software. So you basically got a hidden camera that can move, that is body worn, and that tracks the ball on the rotor and does the timings completely automatically. That's $80,000. It depends on the options you're getting with it. So they really do vary in price, and you might ask, is the price actually justified? The answer is definitely yes. If you see the computers in person and you compare them and understand the limitations of certain versions and the advantages of another version, you understand where the money comes. And ultimately, it's not the cost of the equipment that causes the price difference. It's the development that goes in it and for what you're actually paying for. For example, I hate to think of the actual number of how much I've actually spent on development in total on ruler computers, but it's close to the number of about $300,000 over the space of about 8 or so years. I can't remember how long it's actually been. Time is flying. Okay. Okay. Now you're asking me about reference diamonds. Which number? Okay. My reference diamond is the one to your right of screen. The actual dominant diamond's opposite. Now I can use any reference diamond I want. It doesn't really matter. There are adjustments to be made with different. Well, now I'm getting all technical. If you use certain features, then you want to monitor, say for example, the raw prediction at that point. I think I'll save certain things for players only. It's hard to explain it, but basically, to answer your question, reference diamond, dominant diamond, doesn't matter if they're different.
Up. $25.
Yeah. So just right of 0.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 23. Confirm.
Okay, you're asking whether the raw prediction should be the number when the ball passes the reference diamond the last time. Yes. Yes.
Up. $36.
36, roughly opposite 0. Coming around again, 36, okay. So it's close.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 13. Confirm. Play. Up. $32.
Just next to 0. Okay, Sam, just a second. I'll answer that. Okay, so 32 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Roughly, that was roughly 5 or so pockets off. 32 was there. That was, yep. Accurate is considered within Well, it depends on how early you're actually getting the predictions. If you're getting it very, very early, then obviously you have to allow a bit of tolerance as to what's acceptable or not. In this case, I would consider accurate to be within roughly 5 or so pockets, so that would have been just accurate. If it's outside that, then you can consider it about a revolution off. Now, I know what you're getting at, and I know who you are, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in the actual training sessions. Yep, toxin, as you're saying, within 2 or 3 pockets, that's dead accurate, but that's only if you're predicting it within a certain, like say for example, after 1 or so second, well, about 1200 seconds per revolution, 1200 milliseconds.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 2. Confirm. Play. Up. One.
Okay, 1. Here. Okay, it's coming around again. Oh, no, it just fell a little bit short. When it's off, you'll notice the ball still lands at the opposite. So that's the computer deals with that in the actual charts, and the actual players will understand what I'm saying. So when there's one revolution off, there'll be another peak that's generated. At least that's what I found when I looked at it before.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 15.
Now, just to recap, just so we keep you informed and we at least keep aware of what we're actually looking at, and especially if you've actually just joined after my explanation. We're getting raw predictions being called, and when raw prediction, say for example, if raw prediction is 0, we want the ball to be above that diamond when 0 is there in the ball's last revolution. So 0, the ball will be there, and then the ball will fall wherever it falls from that point. I don't know if that sounds clear or not, but very important, the difference between the raw prediction and the actual tune prediction. What we've found, and I showed it to the other camera that the players will see later on, is, say for example, if the raw prediction is 0, most of the time the ball will land either a couple of pockets this way, and a few pockets, mostly this side of the raw prediction. It's about 8 or so pockets, I think. I said it at the start. The other option is the ball will land roughly directly opposite, so within about 5 or so pockets directly opposite the raw prediction. So I'll just give you an example here.
Up.
And we'll listen for the raw prediction and we'll have a look at it, and I'll tell you if it's a win or loss, or it's in the right area.
6.
So 6, it's here. We're expecting the ball to land most likely, this side, most likely, or directly opposite. Okay, so 6 and over this side. Nick, I'm not sure how to say that name yet. There's a few people that you're asking who makes these computers. So first of all, enter the number.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 4. Confirm. Play.
There's quite a few people that actually go into making it. You've got there's programmers that I pay as contractors. Well, first of all, I design the algorithms. The original algorithms were designed by a mathematician that I paid. Those algorithms have been not scrapped, but they've been used to work with another element of the actual program. That more deals with the changing of the deceleration rates that adjust for the ball deceleration rates due to factors such as air pressure. Then you've got the actual programmers that program the algorithm, and the technicians that make and modify the phones. We don't use the standard mobile phones. We have to modify them. Most mobile phones, when you purchase them, they run a lot of background processes, and they have to have a custom kind of software that's installed on the phone. It's called firmware. and that actually makes the timings a lot more accurate. Anyway, we won't get into that too much.
Up.
In all, there must be about, over the years, 15 or so people have probably contributed, roughly. So 33. Yeah. So watching for 33 when the ball's there for the last time. Coming around, and okay. In that case, 33 and opposite. Okay, as I was saying, we've got to look at it. In that case, yeah, so either around 33, one or two pockets that side or this side of the raw prediction, or directly opposite. In that case, it was directly opposite.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 21. Confirm. Play.
Okay, we've been going for roughly an hour. Is there anything, any other questions that people have? I mean, that's the main thing that I wanted to show, is the accuracy of the raw predictions, especially with early predictions. It's easy to get accurate raw predictions very late in the spin, but there's no point of that because you won't have time to bet. The idea is to get accurate predictions as early as possible.
29.
29. 29. Coming around. Okay, it's probably about 4 pockets off, I think. So 29 and opposite, 30.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 30. Confirm. Play.
Okay, now from this point on, just hit me with any questions or concerns you might have. I mean, if you look at the recording later on, it's pretty clear that we're getting accurate raw predictions. Twenty-three. Okay. So it's directly opposite 0 and 23 again. Because we're getting a bit of a tendency to land directly opposite, that would suggest to me that the ball deceleration rate has significantly changed. If I was to continue playing it, eventually tunes it out, and there is another method that I'll show the actual players later on to make it even more accurate.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 0.
But because we're betting this, those same sectors, we're still getting wins. Six. Yeah. I'll get to your question in a second. Okay, 6 and close to directly opposite. Close.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 28. Confirm. Play.
Okay, the questions. The raw prediction, or raw prediction, you're trying to say. The raw prediction happens at the last passage of the ball. Okay, yep. Roughly how much profit you can make with the cheapest computer. Okay, well that depends on the wheel. It depends on the conditions. You can have if you've got a very easily beaten wheel, and you can use the free ruler computer I provide to genuinewinner.com players, then you can absolutely kill the wheel. But you have to consider that most a more accurate question should be what can you expect to earn with the average wheel, and that will. It's not so much limited by what you can physically earn, it's more about what you can get away with. And as I was saying earlier, realistically, you can take safely between $500 to a few $1,000s each time you play. When you consider that it's tax-free, it can be done within a couple of hours, and if you're using the Uber Roulette computer, it can be done in even less time. But again, you have to rely on having the right conditions. And this particular wheel represents probably a bit more difficult than the average wheel, especially because we're getting predictions so early. And with this particular wheel, it's the profits will be extremely clear. But again, it comes back down to what the casinos will allow. Okay. Question: how do you deal with the low revolutions of 7 to 9 for the slow rotor speeds to get enough data early enough for the raw prediction? Okay, what Zorkman's asking. Say, for example, you've got a very, very slow rotor and a very, very slow ball release. So you want, under normal conditions, you wouldn't have time to get the clicks in. Now, the only computer that will actually deal with a condition like that, the two computers are the Uber and the hybrid. Any other computers you can purchase simply don't deal with it. Of course, the sellers will tell you otherwise, and I'll tell you why. Now, you can use two buttons to time the rotor. Say, for example, you can have one button that times the rotor independently of the ball, and so you don't have to wait for the rotor to come all the way around and then click for the ball. So you can do them both at the same time. Now, the preferred option is to have two different phones that connect wirelessly. That's the Uber version, and you can have one person clocking the rotor at the same time that the other phone clocks for the ball. And when I say clock, I simply mean clicking a button to take timings. Now, the phones will synchronize time between them. It's accurate to within about 5 or so milliseconds, which is much better than it needs to be. And then it calculates the data together and then gives a prediction to both the players. The Uber is the second best version I have, and it can get a prediction very, very early that way. I've actually demonstrated that in previous demos. Another option you can do, you say, for example, the rotor is ultra slow, you can time a quarter of a revolution rather than a full revolution, or you can time half a revolution. A half a revolution is a click there when zero's there, and a click there. Now, there are other roulette computers that can do that, except what happens is the smaller the arc that you time, the greater the error in your timings and the less accurate the predictions will be. With the Uber Roulette computer, you can have two people clocking the rotor, so you can get a quarter revolution, a click there and a click there, and it will determine the average time between the rotor timings. So what I'm trying to say is the more people clocking the wheel and taking timings, the more accurate the predictions are, and the earlier you can get the predictions without losing accuracy. And the Uber is the only roulette computer can do that. Now, the hybrid does something completely differently. That can look at a rotor timing from, say, there to there and be perfectly accurate because it uses image recognition. Now, the accuracy you ultimately get depends on the frame rate. Now, we run them at about 30 frames per second, so the accuracy loss will ultimately be I don't know if you won't be able to see it on the camera, from there to about there. So it's very, very, very small, and it does it automatically. I'll just have a look at the rest of the questions. Yeah, okay, all right.
Up.
I can actually hear on the opposite side of the wheel, to the right of the screen. 8. There's something on the ball track that's changing the acceleration rate, so I might actually see if we can knock it off. So watching 8 come around. Okay, 8 and opposite. Okay, now for the players that understand what the Uber is actually doing, and they'll understand what I'm saying about this point, it's about 1 revolution off, so that's a change in deceleration rate. that's easily adjusted for. I can show that in a, I'll leave the wheel as it is and we'll do another demo later on and I'll show you how it adjusts it for it. But in this case, we're covering both areas anyway, so it doesn't matter, so it's still a win. In other words, 8 and opposite win, no problems.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 12. Confirm. Playing.
Yeah. It is possible that maybe there's something on the ball track over this side. Like I said, there's a lot of dust in this room. I don't actually see it unless you put a laser through it.
Twenty-four.
24. Okay, and much better. But that's not much better, that's shit house scatter.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 12. Confirm. Playing.
So you can see, if I did knock off the piece of dust, you can see what a tiny little bit of dust can do, throw the whole computer off one revolution, the whole ball. Let me just have a look at the questions again. No, I don't sell the source code. I might make it available when I stop working with computers, but not for now. I mean, I've already released free computers before. You can download the free Roulette computers, and most of my money from the computers doesn't actually come from sales, so I'm not overly worried about the sales, although you still can buy them. I mean, people will sometimes ask me, well, if you can make so much money with the Roulette computers, why don't you use them? Or another question I get is, why don't you use them instead of selling them? Well, we do use them. I have a lot of partners that play them for me. I can't actually use them in Australia because it's not legal. So I have players that use them on a profit split arrangement. Okay, you're asking Zorkman, if the ball changes, do you need to retake 30 or so spins of data? Well, let's just test that. Okay, so this is a different ball, same type. We'll see if it actually does affect it. So that's the original ball we're using. Generally speaking, if the ball changes, whether or not you need to change the to recalibrate the computer depends on the quality of the ball. If the ball is a very high quality, then the tolerance for any deviation in how round the ball is very minimal, and so you don't need to worry about any calibrations. But we'll see how this goes. Now, generally speaking, if there was a problem with this new ball and things that actually changed, it's very easy to recalibrate with the Uber. It's simply you need basically 2 or 3 spins to recalibrate it to the new ball. So it's not really a problem. For any of the other Roulette computers, yes, it can be a serious problem. But we'll just see how we go with this ball.
Up.
Okay, so 20. Coming around, and okay. So there's no obvious difference.
Enter 10. Enter 1.
Over the long term, there will be, of course, differences as to how much the difference will be. It really depends. Every ball is different, just like every wheel is unique. There are so many different variables in Roulette.
21.
Okay, so 21 this time. And it will come around probably one more time. Okay. for 21 and just anti-clockwise, which is what we expect. So there's no real difference, not for this ball anyway.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 3. Confirm. Play.
Okay, raises another point. If we use a different ball type completely, then say if we switch to the Teflon now, then that changes everything. It changes the scatter, it changes the ball deceleration rate, it changes everything. So in that case, then yes, we would need a different set of samples. So we'd need calibration data for that new ball type. Now that's not really a problem because there are 4 main ball types that they'll actually use. There's 2 different sizes for this particular ball. Well, actually, there's quite a few different sizes, but the 2 main sizes you can narrow it down to large and medium. That's not the correct measurement, but that'll do for now. And then you've got the large and medium of the Teflon. So that's 4 different types of balls. Now it's easy to switch between them. You can save the data in the computer. You can delete it and re-enter it later on. You can also use different offset values, and that's getting into a little bit technical. But what I'm trying to say is, if the casino was to change the ball on you, it's really no problem. If anything, it's just a bit of a pain in the ass. So most countermeasures don't actually make you lose. It's more about making it difficult. Although if a casino does start to apply countermeasures, then it's simply time to leave, because they're not going to tolerate you winning one way or another. And that's why it comes back to being undetected.
Risk. Play.
Okay, risk. I won't let it finish. So risk was called then.
Up.
So 2. We'll do a few spins on this ball, and then we'll switch back. But then again, it doesn't really matter. And coming around again, 2. And lands opposite 2, so yeah. So clearly most of the spins, even if we're betting only 15 numbers, we're clearly
Enter 10.
killing this wheel.
Enter 1. 20. Confirm.
Okay, let's look at the questions again. Okay, Heldivis, you asked the question, why there are so many sites showing that you were a scam? Competitors, mainly. Obviously, competitors that will do anything they can to compete. Their computers, that's what they do to compete. That's essentially it. There's a few websites that explain what they've actually said. But if you look at the actual content of their websites, you'll find that it really is of no substance. That's one of the reasons I do these live demonstrations, so people can see for themselves rather than relying on absolute, horseshit from other people. So you can see for yourself. If you want to believe competitors, and if you're going to think competitors are going to be honest about their competitors, then that's what you choose to believe. Other people that have said that my systems, my computers are scams, there have been a few players over the years. In all, I've dealt with roughly 1,000 different players. Of those players, roughly there's about 1% of the people that have actually thought that I've scammed them. Of course, not everyone's going to understand what they're purchasing. Now, if you look at the actual details of each of the players that have complained, there's one particular, a French guy. I did a live webcam demonstration with him to prove that his claims were false about my computers. His major claim was that my computer gave inaccurate or random predictions. Now you can look at his comments and say, "Oh, Steve's a scammer," blah 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 blah. But if you actually can, that's an empty claim. But if you look at the actual content of what he's actually saying, and the main thing, like I said again, is that my computer gives random predictions. You can decide for yourself from what you're seeing here if my predictions are random. So what I'm saying is focus on the actual content, what they're saying, rather than the loose mud throwing, calling me a scammer, blah blah blah. Next question. Okay, you are spinning the ball and average 26 revolutions. Can you predict to about 12 revolutions of the ball? Yes, I can do that. Yes, but for me to do that, I'll be changing the. I have to change the settings. What I'm actually showing in this demonstration is we're isolating to a particular fast rotor speed, a fast ball speed. So we want to get a prediction when there's about 15 or so seconds before the ball is fall, and that's the time we're isolating to. Now, if you wanted to see the ball being predicted at any time in the spin, that's easily done, but would have to do that in a private demonstration. As I said in my broadcast through emails and my blog, this particular demonstration is only a very basic demonstration showing a limited capacity of what the Roulette computer can do, so just a basic demonstration of the accuracy. If you wanted to see the full enchilada of what the computer can do, which includes predicting at any time in the spin, then you'd have to do a private demonstration, and that's where you see everything. Okay, now the next question is there a high stakes roulette tables and would they work? Well, they'll work on, it's not, the stakes at the table, the minimum and the maximum bets has no bearing on how beatable an actual wheel is. So there's no reason why it wouldn't work on a high stake roulette table. Okay, next question is, for an average session, how big a bankroll in units would you take to the casino, and how many units might you profit? How much will you profit? Look, it depends on also how beatable the wheel is. If the edge you receive is only very small, then you're going to have to do a lot more spins to turn a profit or a secure profit. Let's say, for example, to give you some scale, if we do 60 spins for one particular direction to get reasonable patterns or reasonable predictability in what the wheel's actually doing and where the ball's landing, then it will take approximately 60 spins to have a secure profit. Now, so just to recap, so if it took 60 spins to calibrate the computer and have a clear enough peak or patterns, you could do 10 spins, you could do 20 spins, and you most likely will profit over that, but you have to look more in the long term, so 60 or so spins for a secure profit. Of course, if you find that there's an easily beaten wheel and it only takes about 15 spins to get a reasonable pattern, you might only need about 5 or so spins before you're out of the casino with a reasonable enough profit. On that note, you have to consider very carefully that nothing in roulette is really short term. You can look at on some wheels, you can say, well, 90% of the time that you will have a win, and that can happen in the right circumstances and the right settings and the right computer, blah blah blah. But most of the time, you're in the casino's conditions. They spin the wheel however frequently as they want, and that's the biggest pain in the butt with the roulette computers, or with any method to beat roulette. It's boring. The first you can spend hours in the casino and you're waiting for some old lady at the end of the table just spreading their chips everywhere, and it can take 2 or 3 minutes, sometimes 5 or so minutes between spins. So the frequency of the spins will make a big difference as to how much you're actually going to earn. And that gets to my next point. If you're playing on some particular wheels that spin regularly every 40 or so seconds, that's the ideal situation. And the casino wants to spin the wheel frequently. The more money on the table that goes there, the more profit for them, and it's better for us as well. Okay, I'm just looking at the next question. Okay, so with the number of units that you'll actually you'll need, as I was saying before, it depends on the accuracy you're getting. Roughly 500 units is pretty much the most you'll need, and simply the more you play, the more you're going to earn, as long as you've got that edge. Yeah, so I mean, you might walk away with 300 units, 500 units. Just depends on how long you want to play. And it's not so much the amount that you win; it's more your sustained style of play. In other words, if you're betting $1 units and you're playing for 5 hours straight, and you're constantly betting in the same fashion, then the casino's got to know what you're doing, or most likely doing, and they might apply some countermeasures. The casinos, in theory, will do that, but most casinos are really a bit dumb. Some of the staff, they really don't know what they're doing. But then again, you don't know who's actually watching in the surveillance room, and they're the people that you need to be aware of. So looking at the next question, Raphael, you're asking if you're seeing a more accurate way of play. Well, you're an actual player, so you can see it later on. You can see the different settings and what we're actually doing. Okay, you're looking at correct rev. What we actually are doing correct rev at this stage. Well, I calibrated before, but then the actual ball acceleration rates changed. I'm not going to worry about that later, but for now. But later on, you'll see how we apply that and using that auto target. Okay, the next question is, what's the accuracy difference on an American 00 wheel? Not much at all. Now, if you're betting randomly, then the edges double against you. But when you're getting edges with the roulette computer of 30 to 100% or so, then the small difference of an extra pocket is not a significant difference. But having said that, if you're playing on an American wheel, it means you're playing in the States. There are a few other countries that use the 00 wheels. Some have been in a different format. You best avoid them because there is a bit of a disadvantage towards you. Although ultimately, the people that do play the 00 wheels it doesn't really bother them. It doesn't make much of a difference. Okay. Next question is, do you mean that the accuracy you have now is the same as what we get with the free computer that you provide players? No, very different. The free computer will not be able to achieve anywhere near this kind of accuracy. And more importantly, it won't be able to deal with any kind of changing of the ball deceleration rates. If you look at the roulettecomputers.com website, it has a comparison page that lists all the different features and the differences between the computers. There's actually some extra differences I haven't added yet. I'll add them in the next. Well, it's not really overly important at the moment, but just whenever I add them, and except the actual players will know the differences in time with the new instructions that are coming out. Next question. How do you calculate your edge? Well, you're an actual player, so you'll be able to see the high definition version later on, and I'll actually show you at the start, and I'll show the camera again. You're asking at this point, Sam. So at this moment, I'm just showing the camera. Okay, so scrolling from the left, that's our main area here. And we've got the secondary area in the middle, which has actually grown because of the change in ball's acceleration rate. And you've got the other area here, which is okay. So, yep, everything's remained consistent. So I've just showed the other camera the chart, and that's basically how you calculate the profitable areas to bet, and essentially you can use that information to calculate your edge. The actual chart will have a green highlighted area that tells you where the profitable areas are. So there's no guesswork anymore, it does it automatically. No problems. Just looking at the... Okay, you're asking again what the house edge is with the computer. Look, you can't possibly say that that you've got a particular edge. The edge will actually change. Depends on the conditions. You'll find it's under certain conditions a wheel is impossible to beat, and then some other wheels and other conditions it's very easy to beat. So it's really a dynamic game. Yes, I do get thirsty after these presentations, in which case I have a bottle here. So. Yes, that's why I've got this. Okay, we'll continue on.
Up.
Okay, 30. Now bottom right, a 0. Okay, coming around again probably. There. And again, landing it opposite. Okay.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 26. Confirm. Play.
Okay, just another question here. Did you make calculations of the house edge. No, I haven't made calculations, but what I can do later on, I'll have a look at the overall chart of what I've actually gotten, and we can calculate the edge from that. Like I said, calculating the edge, the edge will change, so you can't exactly say exactly what your edge is unless you're looking at only a sample of spins. The edge will change.
5, 5,
5. Okay, so directly opposite 5, 3. So, I mean, there should be...
Enter 10.
Hang on.
Enter 1, 3, confirm, play.
As I said at the start of the video, the main point of this demo is to show you the accuracy of the raw predictions, and it's easier for people to understand than considering the actual charts. When I start talking about charts and showing the data, most people don't understand what a jump count is and an offset value of +3 or whatever. That most people don't understand that immediately. But when they see the ball is at that particular point in that particular time, and it's just much easier to follow. And again, someone was asking me about people calling me a scammer and stuff like that. One of the reasons I do these demos live is so people can see that. And one of the first things I do in the demonstrations is I show them the accuracy of the raw predictions, because people that call me a scammer say that well, your predictions are random, but you can see for yourself that's not the case. And I previously on that note, a lot of people I used to respond to the garbage because it was, you know, it's pretty annoying when someone's saying, I'll start from the start. For about 6 months, a competitor started bashing me on the forum. I didn't bother for it. I let him do what he wanted. I didn't care. And then I warned him to please stop. I asked him actually politely, please stop. He didn't listen. He continued on. Then I warned him that if he did continue, I would start responding, and it would basically embarrass him or expose him for what he was doing. And he of course didn't listen. He just intensified his efforts. Then I started responding. And then you could say a real shitstorm just started because he wasn't interested in, he just created new different lies, and I kept exposing him for his lies, and it just went around, and it just wasted my time. I can't be bothered with it anymore. All I've done now is I've just limited to a particular website that explains some of the rubbish that's being said. It's genuinewinnerroulettesystem.com, and that explains, addresses the most important points of what's actually being said. Now, if you believe what they say, I live next to a homeless hostel with my parents. I'm broke, I'm unemployed, but I also work at a spa place or something, all kinds of nonsense. Anyway, look, I can't be bothered with that stuff. You can research it if you like, but this is what you're seeing and this is what matters. Okay, any other questions for now? We've been going about an hour and a half, so we'll wind it up. We'll do a few more spins.
Fifteen.
15, just next to 0.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 4. Confirm. Play.
Sixteen.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 1. Confirm. Play.
Okay, I'm just reading the questions here. What would be your best or least expensive suggestion for an absolute beginner to learn your methods and or visual ballistics? then if when successful later on upgrade. A lot of people actually start with the basic computers. I mean, that's part of the reason I have it. As I was saying, the basic computer is a prelude to the other computers. You can start with the base. Probably the cheapest option is the basic computer, which is free with the Genuine Winner system. The GenuineWinner.com system is $2,500 US, and you receive at the moment. It depends if you buy in time, you get basically the hardware with the computer. That's a basic computer, and it will beat some wheels. It's basically the equivalent of doing quite skilled visual ballistics. Now, if you want to go real budget, then you've got the visual ballistics system, which is available for free. It's on my website, and you can subscribe to the course. Yeah, but visual ballistics has a lot of limitations, and I generally, although I teach it, I don't really like the technique. And there are a lot of different types of visual ballistics, but essentially they have too many limitations, and I don't think it's a very suitable method. But if you're looking to beat Roulette, probably the cheapest option would be, besides having visual ballistics for free and finding the really suitable conditions, would be the GenuineWinner.com system. Now that involves bets before the ball is released, and again, and essentially when it comes down to the bottom line, the system just takes longer to apply. So it's not as transportable, which means that you might need about 300 spins each time for a new wheel to do an analysis, where the Roulette computer you can get away with 30 or so spins per direction. So it's roughly 10. I guess you could say that the computers are basically 10 times quicker. Again, it depends on the wheel. Yeah, SP Roulette. The video will be available and without the ads as well, but you'll see it from a different camera. I might have to edit some parts out where I show the phone to the camera though. And plus it'll be much better with the lighting and stuff like that, so yeah. Okay, Muffin, you're asking about the primordials. The primordials, I'm not sure if you're a system player or not. The primordials are a very, very basic system to beat Roulette that's provided as part of the first part of the GenuineWinner.com Roulette system course. Now, they will beat Roulette, like visual ballistics, under certain circumstances only. And the only reason I teach the primordials now is more of an introduction to the techniques. So for the primordials to beat this wheel, it's possible, but you'd have to have a stricter set of circumstances. Now, what I usually do in the demonstrations, but only in person, and I might do it later on, is I apply visual ballistics on this wheel. I don't want to do it at this stage. I just want to keep the computer, the video focused on the actual computer with these settings. But speaking of live, does someone want to, as we're kind of like in the middle of the actual demonstration, does someone want to ask me to point to a number or whatever just to verify that we're still live and it's not recorded? Because the actual recording itself later on, the people won't actually see what's being said in the chats. 13, okay. There we go, 13. No problems. Okay, what are we at now? Yeah, basically an hour and a half. Both cameras are still recording. Yes. What was that? Another request. 6 and 9. Is that a joke? 9 and 6, or 6 and 9, if that's the order you want. Okay. Sixteen. Yes, I know you guys know it's live, but there'll be other people that will be questioning it because they weren't there and so on and so forth.
Enter 10.
when I ask you to verify it, I mean it's more for for you guys to know it's live. But anyway, look, no matter what I do, you have to understand that the people that call me a scammer will say I breathed on the wheel this certain way, or they'll make all kinds of excuses, and they'll never admit to being what they are, which is liars. But you have to decide for yourself if what you're seeing is real. If you guys have actually taken the time to visit me, to have a look at this live, then you know for yourself it's real. 3. Of course, you might argue that I'm using some kind of complex system of magnets or voodoo or something like that, and people have accused me of saying I must use magnets. I mean, what's more reasonable? But I've developed a simple technique to beat roulette. You know, some technology. Right next to 3. So it's more. Start again. I'm really hopeless at talking. I'm better with the written word. You could say what's more likely that I've got magnets under this wheel and everything like that, and there's big complicated procedures and all kind of technology, or I've developed a ruler computer that actually works. And ruler computers are not new. It just so happens that I've developed what I believe clearly is the best one, but I've actually lost track of what number that is, so I won't enter the number.
Confirm. Rejected. Play. Up. $25.
So 25. And we'll swap the ball again.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 36.
Okay, so
confirm.
That's that ball there. Swapping this one. I think I did that right. Okay. So 28. Yeah. Coming around 28 and probably one more time there. Okay. And just left of 28. Okay.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 7. Confirm. Play.
Alright, is there anything anyone else would actually like to ask? While you're writing your questions, if you have any, I'll just continue on. $20, bottom left of 0. When I say bottom left, I mean down that way. So 20. Okay, that was one revolution off. So it's still a win though, because 20 in opposite. One revolution off for the players that have the Uber. In this case, with these particular parameters, is about that distance off, so about 5 or so pockets. Looks to be anyway, maybe 6.
Enter 10.
But
Enter 1.
it's still a win because we're covering both areas.
Confirm. Play. Zero.
Right on 0. Of course, green. Okay, so again, it's about, what is it? It's about 5 or so pockets off. So that again, it just shows you the effect of 30 and 0. Still probably just a win.
Enter
Yeah, Muffin, this is not officially a support video. The support video will be a bit later on. I'm going to leave the wheel in the same condition, and what I'm going to show you especially is another way of calibrating for the ball's deceleration rate changes. At this stage, comparing the spins on how they were yesterday and today, probably, even though I've actually cleaned the ball track, so it probably is the air pressure that's affecting it, and it's a one whole revolution off. And unless the computer actually deals with that discrepancy, then you can't use the data from the previous day. In this case, I can, because there is an overlap, and if you understand the technology, then you understand the overlap and what it means. So we're still covering different area anyway. Yeah, well, with the support meetings, I mean, they used to be in person, but it seems as I get older, I'm moving further away from the city, and at the moment I'm probably about 2 hours away from Melbourne. I'm moving again soon, and the further I go out, the more difficult the demonstrations be to be in person. 6. But at least with the webcam, and anyone can attend. The only limitation is the internet connection. In this case, it's okay. I think that was 6. And okay.
Enter 10.
Okay, that would have been a loss.
Enter 1. 23. Confirm. Play.
Last time I went to Crown, geez, I need testing my memory. About 3 months ago. I don't need to go to the casinos anymore. I have players that play for me. So 14, just left of 0.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 32. Confirm. Play.
Twelve, just left of 0. Yes, the country's much better than the city. That's for sure. I gained 1 revolution off. It's still a win though.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 13. Confirm. Play.
Let's swap the ball again.
Up.
Now I'm actually spinning the ball a lot harder than a normal dealer would. I'll explain why in a second.
27.
27.
27.
Just right of 0. Yeah, the reason I'm spinning the ball so hard is because if I spin it slower, then it would be too easy to beat, because, or if we're getting a prediction later in the spin, it will be anyway. So 27 coming around. Okay. And directly opposite. So that peak that's opposite the raw prediction will be getting massive at the moment. That's because of the ball deceleration rate change.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 7. Confirm.
Yeah, if I get predictions much later in the spin when the ball is slower, obviously it's going to be easier to beat. But I want to show the predictions as early as possible, so I'm going to have to spin the ball much harder and actually start the timings of the rotor
Up.
as such, so I actually have time to get predictions that early. And those aren't normal conditions; they're actually more difficult than in real casinos. Now, coming back to the original point before. Hang on.
31.
31.
31.
Yeah, if the ball and the rotor are spun very slowly, then your option is to either use the two-button version or the two-player Uber. So 31. Okay, came back a bit. Ooh,
Enter
magnets.
10. Enter 1. 1. Confirm. Play. Up. Nineteen.
19. Okay, we're approaching 2 hours. I'll get to your question in a second.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 11.
Okay, the question is, there's a ball I've seen in a very small casino that actually bounces off the wheel, out of the wheel. It looks like some cheap plastic or something. Have you seen a ball like that? It could be a nylon ball, nylon or Teflon. Nylon balls are rarer. They're hard to find and they're very, very light. For a ball to fly off the wheel, they'd have to be doing something wrong, or they're probably not using the correct ball for the wheel. This is a pretty much regulation ball. Yeah, nylon's a very kind of light material, and if the rotor's got a lot of sharp points on it, I'll see if I can get a side view here. You can't really see it properly, but there's a bit of a bend in it. Straight frets are actually better. When they're bent like this, there's more of a randomization on how the ball can actually bounce. And for example, there's an edge here. It's like not like a knife edge, but well, kind of is. It's two-sided there and two-sided there, and there's a bend in it, so it increases the randomization. You've actually got another type of pocket that's supposed to be really, really random and difficult to beat and so on. It's got triangular pockets, and what it does is it kind of supposed to disperse the ball in more of a random way. It doesn't actually do that in reality. What it actually does is it creates, well, I suppose I disclose it, just creates two different sets of patterns that will still overlap in certain conditions. So it doesn't at all make the wheel more difficult to beat. It just proves that the wheel designers themselves don't fully understand what's actually going on at the wheel. Okay. Five. Okay, so one revolution whole early, and again directly opposite, so that's another win.
Enter 10. Enter 1. 15. Confirm.
Okay, I think we'll end it there. It's been going for roughly 2 hours. Any other last questions? I mean, it's not going to get much clearer than that. You've been seeing the raw predictions. I see that roughly half the people here are actually players. Or actually more than that, sorry. No. From what I can see, there's about there's 5 players, 17 viewers, and 16 guests or something. So it's roughly 40 or so people, something like that. Okay, any last questions before cut transmission here? You're asking about, usually it's about the old wheels. Generally speaking, the older wheels are easier to beat, but that's not always the case. You can find some of the older wheels, they have old ratty ball tracks, and they've worn down, and it kind of randomizes the ball roll, and it actually makes it more difficult. But in some cases, it actually makes it a lot easier. It depends on how the ball's actually falling from that, and what diamonds it's hitting, and how it's bouncing. There are so many different variables that affect how beatable the actual wheel is. So, I mean, in actually a lot of cases, a new wheel is actually better because the ball will roll at a more predictable way. And generally speaking, the newer the wheel, the earlier prediction you can get. That's because it's in better condition. Okay, how do you mitigate rotor speed variation countermeasures? Okay, so say for example the rotor spun at different speeds. There are a few different effects. There's actually 3 different effects that'll happen. I won't go into too much detail about that, but one of the obvious ones, obviously, the faster the rotor, the further the ball will actually bounce and travel. The computer, only the Uber and the hybrid versions have this particular feature that enables you to adjust the prediction in a dynamic way based on how fast the rotor is. Now, I suppose I can explain this. One of the effects, another one of the effects is the faster the rotor speed, generally the faster the scatter, the more spread the scatter. But you've also got the different rotors and ball combinations and different diamonds will affect the way the ball bounces at different speeds in different ways. There's an infinite way of infinite combinations of what can actually happen. So what the computer does is it puts the data into the computer, and it can do it automatically, but it's best to do manually. Is to look at the data on a particular type of chart. It's not like the normal chart, and you can make adjustments for particular rotor speed ranges, but not just saying like the rotor speed at 5,000 milliseconds or 5 seconds per revolution, and the offset will be plus 18. You can't really say that, and if you do it, I mean, you can do that in some circumstances, but because the ball deceleration rate is changing and Roulette is such a dynamic game, if you have that kind of approach, then you'll basically be risking going from a winning area to a losing area. So instead of targeting a correct area, you'll be avoiding the correct area, and that's a very you go from a strong win to a strong loss. So what the computer actually does is it extrapolates and interpolates based on the data it has. So you might need about when the earlier versions needed 200 plus spins to give an accurate estimation, but this particular version can deal with about 60 or so spins and deal with the different rotor speed ranges. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, I'm trying not to, I answer the question more precisely to actual players in a private demonstration, but in a public demonstration, obviously I can't show you the charts or what the computer actually does. Okay, looking at the other questions. Okay, when's the player session? I'm going to try and do it next week. I have to work around some other work as well, as it is of emails are kind of piling up, so I need to get to those. Either way, I'm going to announce it on my blog, and you'll give it. Well, this time you had 24 hours notice, but I'm going to try and give about a week's notice. Looking. Also, the system players that don't have the Roulette computers can still attend. They can still see what we're actually doing and how the computers work. That's no problem. So, I mean, they're subject to the same non-disclosure anyway. Okay, what was that comment about automated rotor speed countermeasures? Okay, that's really not a problem. There are particular wheels that do present a problem. The majority of the rotor speed changes that are automated don't actually present a problem. And it's not to say, I mean, what I say to be technical is you can beat any wheel design. I mean, I have a guarantee that's saying that you can beat any wheel design. That's not a guarantee that you will beat any design. It's a guarantee that if you don't beat a particular design, you get the refund. If I can't develop the computer further to beat your particular wheel. Now, the guarantee has conditions which are basically that there are reasonable conditions. In other words, you're not going to be getting accurate predictions a second or so after the ball is released and 20 seconds before the ball actually falls. Those are virtually impossible conditions. Okay, what's that? You're saying and a control spin number 43. I don't even know how many spins were done. 23 wins and profit 183 units, 28% edge. Okay, yep, that sounds about right. Actually, well, considering the blackjack players get excited over a few percent edge, and we're getting a 28% edge here quite comfortably, it's a big difference. And if you consider that the normal house edge against you is about 2.7%. And you're getting 28% edge is a really big difference. Again, it comes down to the point that it's not so much what you can physically win, it's more about getting away with it and being covert. Because if you are detected, the casino's not going to tolerate you winning. Okay, any other questions for now? Yep, no problems, guys. All right, for the players, I'll have to go through the video and see if I had to censor anything out. But for the players, they'll see everything anyway. Yep, no problems, guys. All right. Well, thanks to everyone attending. Thanks to all the non-players as well. No problems, guys. All right. If you've got any other questions, you can email me. I won't be taking calls for the rest of the day because I've got to catch up on work. Maybe towards the end of the day. Okay. Again, the recording will be available. Okay. Bye for now, guys.